What's going on, guys? Welcome to my YouTube page, which is all about helping people navigate their awakening process. And today I'm going to do another book review. Mostly because I'm so excited about a book I'm currently reading. And I'll just get right into it. Boom. Awaken the Giant Within. It's got a cool title and everything. Tony Robbins. I know a lot of you guys probably already know who Tony Robbins is. Well, I've always known who he was, but I recently just saw a documentary he did, something like I'm Not Your Guru, and I was blown away. This guy is the real deal. He's a straight up awesome healer. What he has to say is just so profound. Basically, the whole book is about, it's kind of like a roadmap to your ascension process, even though that's not exactly what he's going for. This is more of a roadmap for making real internal, which manifests eventually as external changes with, in your life. And he has a really kind of experience and science-based practical system for doing that. For example, how to break habits, how to get rid of your addictions, how to go for, actually be able to carry out your plans to achieve this massive long-term goal. He has really awesome advice contained in this book that'll help you do that. It just clicked with me. I think it'll click with a lot of you guys. Again, it's kind of a more just a more relaxed way of explaining how one can create real change within themselves without saying, wow, you gotta purge your negative, dense, vibrational energy, and that's all has its place. We all dig that and understand it. But this just kind of helped it click with me because it goes into a little bit of the science, talks about the neural pathways we have and how we immediately form connections with an experience that matches a particular feeling we have. So we all of us, and as we're coming to find out a lot during this awakening process, have a lot of these, what does he call them, inaccurate connections. We connect pain to something that's actually good for us because we had maybe one bad experience. We also connect pleasure to things like drugs and alcohol and food that are actually bad for us because we just have this loop where we're too fixated on the short-term pleasure. And he has some really cool ways, again, of breaking those habits. And he's an extremely self-empowered, successful, happy, loving, just an example of an awesome person. And it comes through in his books. I was really happy about that because I loved his documentary so much. It was so touching. And that same energy I'm able to glean out of this book as well. This other one is pretty cool. It's Warrior of the Light by this dude. He also wrote the book that I'm a huge fan of. I haven't reviewed it yet. He also wrote The Alchemist, a very popular book. It's about, essentially, it's a fiction book about someone going through their awakening, not so much their awakening, but finding their purpose. Awesome book. But anyway, this is more like just daily. You don't have to do it daily, but just every page has its own idea. It's not really a progressive book, like a book you would read. So I would read one page a day and just sort of meditate on it, try to because there's a lot of, usually each page has a lot of potent wisdom in it. So you can kind of think about that all day and benefit from it. And I just find it to be a good habit to do that. But that was one of the things I used when I was getting clean off of heroin. Is I had 4 or 5 little books every morning, man. I had this routine I would do, and at the end of it, I'd be drinking my coffee, and I'd go and I'd do these little daily meditations, daily prayer, daily this, daily that, and I'd just fill myself at the beginning of each day with all this really positive and empowering information, and it really helped me a lot. And this one of these books, if I would have had this book back then, I would have used it because it's an awesome book for that purpose. Again, it's not something you just read right through because you need time to digest it, a lot of it. And here's another one very similar to that book I just got done telling you all about, Stillness Speaks. This is by ECKHART Tolle. It's his very first book. It's another great one for daily affirmations. You can see these little slashes. He puts these in his books when he wants you to stop and kind of contemplate. And you see there's a lot of them. So you can kind of go through and read a short paragraph and meditate on that. ECKHART Tolle is awesome he's not so much delivering any new information. He's just kind of, the way he speaks, at least for me, it helps me access the now. It helps me tune in to my potential enlightened state on a moment-to-moment basis. It puts me in the zone. So this is another good one for that purpose as well. I won't get too much further into it. I pretty much summed it up. Go to this one. This is by a guy named ADYASHANTI. He's like ECKHART Tolle in the sense he's a truly awakened person. He embodies the enlightened state in its fullest sense at all times. He's achieved enlightenment. And he's got a bunch of books. This is not the right one, actually. Sorry. It's a good one too, Falling into Grace, but I wanted to talk about this one. You can't see, but it's The End of Your World, actually. Here he is. The End of Your World, in particular, is about the awakening process. ADYASHANTI differs from ECKHART Tolle in the sense that he didn't just have an awakening moment. He actually, as a pretty young teenager, kind of became fascinated with the whole idea of enlightenment and got into like Zen Buddhism and meditation and had a very long 20-30 year journey and finally achieved enlightenment. So he knows what it's like to go through the process. And he has a good way of explaining it. So this is kind of like what I do. He goes over the process of awakening, and it's very interesting. I've read it, as you see, my dog's got a hold of it, but I've read it many times, and it's just been really, I just like it because it's written from an enlightened person, but again, it's about the nature of awakening from his enlightened perspective, so it's kind of cool. Lastly, I'll go over Man's Search for Meaning. As you see, more than 12 million copies in print worldwide by VIKTOR FRANKL. Ladies, don't run, because this doesn't really have to do, it's not so much of a masculine book at all, and it applies just as well to you ladies and girls and women as it does guys. It's awesome. It was written by a psychologist, an actual clinical psychologist who survived the Holocaust, and he actually went to a Nazi death camp and lived there for quite a while and made it out to tell about it. And it's just about his experience there, more specifically the effects of extreme grim adversity on the human psyche. And it's from his own subjective experience as a psychologist, so it's just very unique in that sense. And he actually achieves like an enlightened state, enlightenment, is able to transcend his current circumstances and embody a more of a blissful state of consciousness that he comes to discover within himself in spite of living in that Nazi death camp. It's totally motivating, inspiring. It's a beautifully written book. I read it in like, I don't know, I think a day. I don't think I put it down from the time I picked it up. It was an amazing book that has stuck with me up until this point. I read it a while ago. I can't say enough about it, guys. It's a phenomenal book. It shows you just how circumstances really don't matter. It's all about your state of being. And he's an insanely awesome example of that fact. So that's it, guys. Those are my books for this video. I hope you got something out of it, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.